is Sarah, and for this video I will be talking about the 5th house cusp, Leo, and the Sun. So after the 4th house, where we realize the importance of family and our roots and history, we kind of go back or regress to the idea of expressing ourselves and our own special and unique personalities. The 5th house corresponds to the ages of about 20 to 25. So this is kind of like the college years for some of us, or when we were able to go off into the world alone to find our place amongst society and live out our individuality and become our own person, away from our family, and away from our roots and background and history. So basically just going away from the 4th house. It's the next logical step. And this is a time when not only are we redefining or have a strong desire to express our identities, but also a time of fun, where we want to let loose and do things just because we enjoy them. This house governs over all things that we do just because we like to, just for play, just for fun. It's about parties, celebrations, romance, and love affairs, all things that we do somewhat selfishly for our own amusement or enjoyment. Of course, this is also a time where we can be rather irresponsible. This is the house that concerns itself with gambling and speculation as well, and also children and childbirth, which this goes along the same lines of love affairs and romance. And this house is not concerned with the rearing or raising of children, but more on the birth and begetting of children. And play and just having fun, like I said, is just a huge factor in this house. And the 5th house can describe our ways of our inner child, which influence how we go about having our fun that I mentioned earlier. And with children, which is what the 5th house really is very much about, is children and play. It is the impulsiveness and somewhat selfishness which goes along with this, a house that mirrors that of our inner child. When a child plays, they play with their toys and they make believe and imagine different worlds where they're their own. They're expressing their inner beings through playtime. And this is much in the same creative ways as an artist would to express themselves and express their own individuality. So really art is just kind of a continuation of our own childhoods. And this house also includes just that of art and music and the way in which our identities shine through our own creations and our own way of expressing who we are and what we do. And this house is somewhat like the 1st house and the ascendant in the way of expressing one's personality. It's all about the self, and it's all about being yourself, showing your true nature and your true personality. And like the 1st house, or Aries, which is a fire sign, the 5th house, or Leo, is also a fire sign. The sign of Leo is a fixed masculine sign, and it's closely related to the 5th house, as I just mentioned. And Leo's glyph symbolizes 2 valves of the human heart, which is part of the body that it rules over, much like all the others. And Leo is also Latin for the word lion, which is stereotypically defined as like a powerful and regal animal, which can describe many other traits of the sign. And the color of the sign corresponds to yellow. And yellow is a very bright and exuberant color, much like many of the qualities of the sign itself. And its musical note is E. And like the color yellow, those with their suns positioned in this sign tend to express exuberance and passion in everything they do. These individuals are many times performers, actors, musicians, artists, and may dabble in any of these forms of creative self-expression, even if they're not professionals. Leos are famous for wanting to crave the limelight and attention from others. And this goes also along with the child and impulsiveness and playtime and just being a child. But they can also be perceived as somewhat of show-offs, and selfishness may be something that they will have problems with. At least others may perceive them as such. Leos can be dramatic, self-assured, witty, loquacious, flamboyant, competitive, driven, because even though they may like to party, they are never satisfied with being second best to anything or anyone. So that's kind of where their competitiveness comes in. They want to be the center of attention, the center of the universe, the center of the world. But even though they can be competitive, they're not usually malicious. They just have a strong desire to express their individuality, and like I said, just be in the limelight. They want to feel special because we all are special. But Leos in particular really want to be the one. But they're also very generous and warm-hearted and affectionate. They make excellent friends, and since they're loyal and just up for fun, so they're a friend that you can cry on their shoulder when you have a problem, or go out on the town and have a party. They tend to gain their strength from the acceptance of others, so propriety and respect is a trait that they may take seriously, so they often make wonderful hosts and just great people to be around. Providing generosity to others is important with this sign, but that does not by any means indicate that Leo is prudish or boring. Like I said, they're all about fun. They're not about the dull and mundane. They don't really like routine. And other planets positioned in this sign will express their energies with the dynamic force that cuts through the routine and dull happenings of everyday life. It's exciting, and it's a fire sign. Because like the 5th house, Leo is a sign of play and fun through the expression of oneself and for the enjoyment of oneself. And the ruler of the sign is the sun, which in astrology is a point in our charts that can tell us the way in which we express our inner beings, our inner child, who we are. And the glyph for the sun is a circle with a dot in the center, basically representing our whole solar system. And goes with the idea of the world revolving around the individual, or at least the individual as one unique and special individual. And the sun is an inherently positive luminary. It is nearly impossible, really, to have a badly positioned sun in a zodiac sign. And this luminary can arguably be described as the most important part of a natal chart, because it basically just describes who we are, or at least categorizes us all based on 12 categories as it is used in sun sign astrology. But it also makes sense for the sun to be so important if we really think about the actual sun. The sun is located at the center of our solar system, and the sun itself is huge, and it's bright, and it demands attention. It also acts as a catalyst for all things to grow on this earth. Without the sun, we wouldn't have plants, and just things wouldn't really evolve. So the sun is essential to our being, and it is bright and emits energy, and it plays a vital role just for everyday lives. It is the day, and the lack of sun is the night. So there cannot be really any arguments that would dispute the importance of the sun. And the sun is it's happy and loving, much like the sun, sign, and house it rules. And like the 5th house in Leo, it represents our true nature, or the nature in which we express possibly as children, which I think is our true nature. And when someone gets an interpretation of their astrology chart, one good thing to keep in mind is that if you think about who you were as a child, what you were like as a child, that's really what your interpretation and what your wheel will tell about you. It's who you are without the stipulations that society put on you, or people that you knew, or events or different experiences that you had. It's kind of before you were brainwashed into maybe the being you are now, or just haven't grown yet. So it's really who we are. That's why the inner child with astrology is very important, and the sun, of course, is very important. That is all for this video, and in my next video, I will be telling you about the 6th house, the sign of Virgo, and the asteroid Vesta. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe.